Welcome. We are the Juneau Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. No matter your age, no matter your strengths, no matter your beliefs or lack of beliefs, no matter who you love or who you live with, if you're a congregational founder or a first-time visitor, we welcome you here to this community. The mission of the Juneau Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is to be a spiritual home for all people who are engaged in a search for truth and meaning. We are glad you are here. It's my honor today to lead you in worship. I'm the Reverend Teri Schwartz, worship minister here at the Juneau Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. All right, let's begin with our chalice lighting. Why gather for this service to remember the reality and pain of loss? The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached these words 2 years before his murder. He said, "Sunday after Sunday, week after week, people come to the church with broken hearts. They need a word of hope. And if the church has an answer, if it doesn't, it isn't a church. But the church must say in substance that brokenheartedness is a fact of life. Good Friday is a fact of life. That failure is a fact of life. Good Friday is as much of a fact of life as Easter. Failure is as much of a fact of life as success. Disappointment is as much a fact of life as fulfillment. And the church must tell people to take your burden, take your grief, and look at it. Don't run from it." We come to this hour on All Souls Sunday to take our burden, to lay bare the hidden griefs we carry, to call to mind the losses, and to honor the loss, the incompleteness, the absence, which is part of living. We come to this hour in gratitude for those lives now ended, which have touched our own, for the people we loved and whose stories live on. On this day of All Souls Remembrance, we will light our chalice with gratitude for all those people now gone who have lit the flame within us. Memories of love hang upon our stars. All the souls I've lost to tears now the autumn jars, and the air around me here thickens with their song. Sing again their nameless tunes, sing again and strong. Willows in September touch the water clear, set among the rushes tall of the flowing year. Rising up from sunlit past comes a shadowed sigh, running toward me silently, love to fortify. Many are the graceful hearts hung upon this tree, and it seems there's room for mine on these branches free. And the sky above the tree, whether wet or bright, is my ease and comforting, my good news and light. I'll offer now a wisdom story, or you can think of it as a time for all ages. That hymn, All My Memories of Love, was sung by Jess Huteman, who has graciously gifted those for gifted her music for use for congregational worship. So the wisdom story for this morning is Lifetimes by Brian Melanie and Robert Ingpen. There is a beginning and an ending for everything that is alive. In between is living. All around us, everywhere, beginnings and endings are going on all the time, with living in between. This is true for all living things, for plants, for people, for birds, for fish, for trees, for animals, even for the tiniest insect. Nothing that is alive goes on living forever. How long it lives depends upon what it is and what happens while it is living. Sometimes living things become ill or they get hurt. Mostly, of course, they get better again. But there are times when they are so badly hurt or they are so ill that they die because they can no longer stay alive. This can happen when they are young or old or any time in between. It may be sad, but it is the way of all things, and it is true for everything that is alive, for plants, for people, for birds, for fish, for trees, for animals, even for the tiniest insect. There are lots of living things in our world. Each one has its own special lifetime. Trees that are tall and strong grow slowly, standing in the sunshine and in the rain. Some of them live for a very long time indeed. As long as 100 years or more, that is their lifetime. Rabbits and mice grow up in only a few weeks. Then they go on to live for a year or two, crunching up carrots and nibbling at cheese until they grow old and very tired, and it is their time to die. That is how it happens to be for rabbits and mice. It is the way they live, and it is their lifetime. Flowers and vegetables, planted as seeds in the beginning of spring, when the earth is warm, grow quickly to live through the heat of summer. The days pass and they become old during autumn when it is cooler. Then, when winter comes and it is cold, they die. It is the way they live. That is their lifetime. Butterflies live as butterflies for only a few weeks. Once they have dried their wings, they flutter and flit from leaf to flower. At first, they are bright and quick, but as time passes, they begin to slow down until finally they can go no further. They rest for a while, and then they die. That is the way butterflies live, and that is their lifetime. Birds grow up quite quickly too. It is often no more than a few months from the time they hatch until they are strong enough to fly and feed themselves. How long they live after that seems to depend upon their size. Mostly, the bigger they are, the longer they will be alive. That is the way birds live, some for as long as 50 years, others no more than 2 or 3. But however long, it is their lifetime for each one. Fish swimming in lakes and rivers or in the sea can be so tiny it is hard to tell that they are there at all, or so big that the only way to describe them is enormous. Again, as far as we know, it seems that the smaller they are, the shorter will be their lifetime. But that is how it is for fish. Their lives can be as little as a day or so, or as long as 80 or 90 years. It is the way they live, and those are their lifetimes. And people? Well, like everything else that is alive, people have lifetimes too. They live for about 60 or 70 years, sometimes even much longer, doing all the things that people do, like growing up and being grown up. It can happen, though, just as it does with all other living things, that people become ill or get hurt. Mostly, of course, they get better again. But there are times when they are so badly hurt, or they are so ill, that they die because they can no longer stay alive. It may be sad, but that is how it is for people. It is the way they live, and it is their lifetime. So no matter how long they are or how short, lifetimes are really all the same. They have beginnings and endings, and there is living in between. And that is how things are for plants, for people, for birds, for fish, for animals, even for the tiniest insects, everywhere.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. It is grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Oh, when this flesh and heart shall fail, and life begins to cease, I shall travel through that shadowed vale with steady joy and peace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see.
On this day of All Souls' remembrance, we particularly call to mind all those people now gone who have lit the flame within us and whose memory still feeds the fire of our lives. They were grandparents and relatives we only knew as children. They were the dear friends we had always known, and the dear friends discovered only in the last years of our life. They were teachers in our classrooms who seemed impossibly old when we were young. They were our mentors, the wise ones who gave good counsel. They were the people we could confess our hopes and fears to, and would listen and listen, the friend we could cry with, even when we didn't want to let the tears out. They were the people we chose to spend our lives with, to make a life with. Let us hold them all in our hearts for a moment of silence. I invite you into this silence to speak the name of anyone you wish to hold in the love of this community. And for those names and lives and souls that remain in our hearts, we pray, we send our wishes and thanks, those spoken and those unspoken, those remembered and those forgotten. Amen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
In the cold bite of the air, you can feel time passing, and we're moving into darkness after the leaves have burst into brilliance. Your evergreens remaining green. We are moving through the wheel of our years, bound by common human knowing that we are alive and have to die. We pause now together. There is a beginning and an ending for everything that is alive. And in between is living. We pause now to mark the turning of the years, to remember those we have loved and have lost, to honor them and to love them still, to mark the empty seat in the church, the space left unfilled, to remember bittersweet and wondrous the voices we no longer hear. In this moment, too, we hold our own griefs of other losses, disability, illness, lost possibilities. We've come to hold our grief as individuals and to hold our grief as a community. We honor it today that we might be made more whole by remembering our brokenness. As we remember those who died and acknowledge our grief in all its varied and complex forms, we remember our own mortality. It's said that there are two gifts that are often passed by in life unopened, and those are death and love. If we pay close attention to the dying, it will teach us how to live. And in our remembrances today, may we live more boldly and fully. May our lives honor our loved ones. What they dreamed is ours to do now. There are empty seats among us, in church and in our homes and lives, our hearts. They rest easy, and the work of living is ours. As we prepare to take our leave from one another, I send you off with this benediction, a good word. It's a poem called What the Living Do by Marie Howe. Johnny, the kitchen sink has been clogged for days. Some utensil probably fell down there. And the Drano won't work but smells dangerous. And the crusty dishes have piled up waiting for the plumber I still haven't called. This is the everyday we spoke of. It's winter again. The sky's a deep, headstrong blue. And the sunlight pours through the open living room windows because the heat's on too high in here and I can't turn it off. For weeks now, driving or dropping a bag of groceries in the street, the bag breaking. I've been thinking, this is what the living do. And yesterday, hurrying along those wobbly bricks in the Cambridge sidewalk, spilling my coffee down my wrist and sleeve, I thought it again, and again later when buying a hairbrush. This is it. Parking, slamming the car door shut in the cold. What you called that yearning, what you finally gave up. We want the spring to come and the winter to pass. We want whoever to call or not call, a letter, a kiss. We want more and more and then more of it. But there are moments, walking, when I catch a glimpse of myself in the window glass, say the window of the corner store, and I'm gripped by a cherishing so deep for my own blowing hair, chapped face, an unbuttoned coat that I'm speechless. I am living. I remember you. Let us send forth our flame, and I'll invite us to sing together, From You I Receive. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share from this
Sweet from you I receive, to you together we share, and from this sweet